the Encyclopedia Britannica in the article entitled Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama was the first person to travel from Europe to India around the tip of Africa through what is today known as the Cape of Good Hope. Without this monumental event, the world would not be as culturally connected as it is today. Today, I will be talking about culture and communication in Portugal. When I traveled to Portugal a few years ago, I found the culture fascinating, which is why I chose to research it. First, I'll discuss Portugal itself, then I'll talk about the arts in Portugal, and lastly, I'll talk about communicative behaviors in Portugal. I'll start by giving some basic information about the country. According to Culturegram's 2020 ProQuest online edition in the article entitled Portugal and in the section Background, Portugal is one of the oldest countries, with Lisbon being its oldest city, founded in 1200 BC. Portugal is slightly smaller than the US state of Indiana. It is also part of the Iberian Peninsula, which also contains the country of Spain. Portugal makes up the westernmost edge of the peninsula and has around 1,115 miles of coastline. Northern Portugal, which is home to the major city of Porto, is mountainous, and the climate tends to be cool and rainy. Southern Portugal, which is home to the capital city of Lisbon, is often warmer and more moderate because of the influence of the Mediterranean Sea. Portugal is mostly homogeneous, which means that most people are Portuguese. Around 65% of the population lives in the urban areas surrounding Lisbon and Porto. People speak mainly Portuguese, which is the official language. However, English is taught in schools, and many people understand Spanish due to the linguistic similarities. Although commonly referred to as Portugal, the official name is the Portuguese Republic, or República Portuguesa. Portugal is a semi-presidential republic, which has an elected president as a figurehead. The president then appoints a prime minister who directs the country's parliament. Portugal is considered a developed country, but remains one of the poorer members of the EU. This is due to a low GDP per capita. Now that I have introduced the country as a whole, I will now talk about art forms that are unique to Portugal. According to the 1999 article by Branco and Vernon entitled A History of Portuguese Fado, Fado is a genre of music unique to Portugal. According to Culturegram's 2020 ProQuest online edition in the article entitled Portugal, under the section entitled The Arts, Fado means fate in Portuguese, so the music often portrays feelings of loss or sadness. Azulejos are a visual art form that use tile work. These glazed tiles decorate many buildings and interiors in Portugal. According to the Culture Trip website in the article by Santos entitled 50 Shades of Blue, the story of Portugal's beauty through its azulejos, the most commonly found tiles are in cobalt blue and white, which are thought to symbolize Portugal's long maritime history. Now that I've discussed the rich artistic culture in Portugal, I will now talk about their social behaviors. According to the Hofstede Insights website, in the country comparison section entitled Portugal, Portugal is a collectivist country which is based off of group loyalty and relationships. In social or casual settings, the Portuguese base achievements off those of the group, and relationships between people are very important. The nuclear family is also the most common unit in Portuguese society. While the Portuguese have strong bonds with their immediate family, rural families experience stronger bonds with a more extended network of people. In business settings, Portugal has a high power distance with a score of 63. This reflects that hierarchical distance is accepted and powerful positions are admitted to have privileges and advantages. Employer-employee relationships are also viewed in moral terms, similar to a family link. Now that you've learned about Portugal and its culture, I'll review some important points to conclude. First, I gave background information on the country, then I talked about the art forms that are unique to Portugal, and lastly, I discussed the communication culture in Portugal. Thank you for listening, or as the Portuguese say, obrigado por ouvir.